Hello and welcome to Weekly MTG. We have an amazing show for you today because we are revealing the entirety of the Fantastic Four Marvel Superheroes Commander deck. And to do this, we have a very sleepy but also very energized Daniel Holt, who was at Summer Game Fest all weekend, showing people this new set and partaking in a lot of that. And this particular deck has a pretty special place in your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, I love the Fantastic Four. Invisible Woman is my favorite superhero of all time. She's just so cool with her shields and her invisibility. And so getting to do the Fantastic Four deck was kind of a dream come true as part of this product. You know, we started with obviously the Hero and Villains deck, and we kind of had a little more free reign about the other two, so we picked Wakanda, and I kind of had a bias. I'm like, let's do a whole Fantastic Four deck.
So were you like the primary designer on this deck? Were you in charge of this deck?
Yeah, so I'm a senior game designer over here at Wizards of the Coast, and I led the game design for all four of these decks together with my team. And yeah, this one was the one I kept kind of close to myself. I'm like, I'm designing this all.
You got to put your finger on the scale for that one. Yeah. So we're going to reveal the entire deck. We're going to go through card by card. We're going to show off the new cards, the reprints, all of it. And we're going to spend some time talking about it and hanging out with you. So we're going to get started. Now, we already showed the face commanders, but it's worth talking about them again to set the theme and what you're trying to do with this deck. So let's start with Invisible Woman, your favorite, and number one. And actually, it's the entire Fantastic
Here's the full lineup. We did something unique here with, instead of just doing one commander or a secondary, we decided to do all four. We tried partner. It was like 4 commanders in the command zone. Too much. We tried putting them on one card, and that just seemed kind of like a waste to put all 4 of these memorable characters on one card for this deck. So we did this thing where you can interchange them, use whichever one you want depending on your play style. So starting with Invisible Woman, she is the one that's going to be protecting you the most by making those walls. You know, you're a non-creature spellslinger deck, spellslinger sort of, but so you need protection. You're going to be a little lower on creatures, so she provides those blockers for you. If you play with Mr. Fantastic, for example, though, he's your card draw engine. He's going to be copying and manipulating those triggers. Whereas the Human Torch and the Thing, they're going to do a lot of damage. You know, the Human Torch himself can be like a one-shot that then spreads to the other team. You can actually KO the whole table if you get the right setup in this deck. I have done that. And then the Thing obviously is going to grow over time and just pack a big punch himself. And the Thing's actually second ability is open-ended, so you can actually combine that with other types of counter strategies, you know, doubling just whatever kind of number of counters you want.
And I love the schema here. They're each an individual color. You know, Johnny's very red, the Thing's very green, Mr. Fantastic's very blue, Invisible Woman's very white. But like you put the 4-color like team up ability. I love. Was it always designed that way? Did you start with various color pairings? How'd you land on this?
Yeah, I think they all started with their monocolor idea, but like I said, we tried different executions of how to get them all able to be in the command zone. And then when I ended on the scheme of kind of like keyword triggered ability, that you'll see this triggered ability of at the beginning of combat, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, benefit. You'll see that across the board on a lot of cards in this deck, but I line those up and then I line that last ability up. And you know, as much as the casual Future League who during playtesting like, can we change these knobs, can we move things around? I'm like, not really. These 4 kind of need to look the same and have their parallels. So we locked that in pretty early and then just kind of shifted numbers and effects around. I think Invisible Woman was the one we got last because she's trying to do a lot of things. She's trying to make those walls, but she has to capture that invisibility too. So making the walls matter by pumping your team and then sneaking in with that invisibility.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so keep these in your head as we go through this because so much of the deck is built around having one of these in the command zone. But we're gonna start with, you know, back in December, we revealed a bunch of cards and we revealed a particular saga. And people were like, oh, well, I hope this character gets a card, and it's here in this deck. So let's see Galactus, Devourer of Worlds, a 10-mana legendary creature, Elder Alien, fantastic type line, 12/12, flying, trample, indestructible. When Galactus enters exile, target permanent. And of course, there's that insatiable hunger. Galactus attacks an opponent with the most life among your opponents each combat, if able, unless you control a creature named Silver Surfer Galactus Herald. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. Walk us through the design of Galactus.
Well, spoilers, you're going to see a Silver Surfer potentially here in a moment. But the thing with Galactus is, and this whole deck is, you know, everyone knows the Fantastic Four. So the rest of the deck is the people that they interact with. And the thing about Galactus, and I had to convince several people in the building of why he could go in this deck and not the villain deck, is he's not really a villain. He's just a hungry guy.
Yeah.
He's just trying to survive. He is Galactus.
Yeah.
So in this deck, he had to be that cosmic entity, that unfathomable, like super-powered entity that everyone is terrified when he shows up to literally to eat the planet. So I wanted to get that big body in here. He doesn't super play into the non-creature matters of the deck, but you do need ways to finish the game, and he is certainly a finisher.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to be ramping a lot in this deck too to get to those powerful non-creature spells that are a little more expensive to cast. So, as you're slinging your spells and you finally have 10 mana, you slam him down, he's going to start finishing the game.
Yeah. Well, and I love too where there are aspects of Magic that just perfectly fit in a universe. We're going to talk about some of those with the reprints as well, but Elder is a creature type that carries a lot of weight in Magic to convey where they stand in sort of the mythos of it all. And it's perfect here for Galactus. He was the survivor of the last cosmos. He's back here in the 8th cosmos. And he's just a force of nature that's kind of always been around as long as this 8th cosmos has been around.
Yeah. And he's always pursuing, the most life. That's why the gag there on the insatiable hunger.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Now let's meet his herald, Silver Surfer, Galactus' herald. 5 mana. This one's an alien hero, also colorless, 4/5 with flying, of course. When Silver Surfer enters, you may search your library for a card named Galactus, Devourer of Worlds. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Hey, look, he's a herald. When Silver Surfer deals combat damage to a player, until the end of your next turn, target creature attacks that player each combat if able. So obviously this had to be in the deck of Galactus.
Yeah. Aaron Forsyth personally said, "Hey, you got to get Silver Surfer and Galactus and their relationship correct." And that's exactly what this does. On turn 5, you play this, or whenever you have 5 mana, and you literally herald Galactus. You go get him. You show the whole table. This is coming. It's in my hand. It's coming. And then the last ability lets him kind of direct Galactus. Galactus has that built into his own ability now, so that Galactus can attack kind of whoever instead of being forced to go at whoever has the most life. But now Silver Surfer himself kind of gets to play that with all your creatures. He gets to send anything anywhere. It can make your opponent's creatures attack whoever. So just kind of directing damage around the table.
Yeah, well, and I love how that fits into his character. He, sure, he heralds Galactus, but like the story with him and the Fantastic Four is he kind of learns to love humanity and pushes Galactus in another direction.
Yeah, another one of those like sort of frenemy spaces. Like he's not necessarily evil, but he's not quite the good guy hero you're
exactly. All right. Now let's move into Invisible Force Field. So this is an instant, 1 and a white, up to 4 target permanents. You control, gain indestructible until end of turn, and rebound. So I don't think we should call it every time there's a 4 on a card, but I would imagine there's going to be a few of them.
Yeah, this one specifically, this is starting, there's going to be a cycle of these you'll see today. This one is obviously Invisible Woman's signature spell, and that's kind of what I'm calling them, not to be confused with prepared spells.
Yeah.
So she's using those force fields, making 4 target permanents indestructible. That's the whole team. And then Rebound is really cool in this deck. You'll see some more Rebound cards. All of the signature spells have them. Rebound is important because it lets you set up for the next turn where you get a free spell at the beginning of your turn. That way you can then play your creatures and then get that beginning of combat trigger we talked about earlier, where you just needed to cast at least 1 non-creature this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and so you said that each of the 4 Fantastic Four has one of these signature spells with Rebound? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to them throughout today.
We're going to jump back, excuse me, into the sort of world of Galactus because we have Ultimate Nullification here. 4 and a white for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a legendary creature. Exile all creatures in graveyards. Put Ultimate Nullification on the bottom of its owner's library.
This had so much design restriction when we were making it. It's, the Marvel fans in the building said, that's the most terrifying thing in the Marvel universe. Even Galactus himself is afraid of this. So it had to interact with Galactus, who is indestructible. So yes, it had to exile all creatures. For a while, we tested it as an artifact, because it kind of feels that way. It feels like something that sits there until you use it, maybe like an equipment. It was pretty obnoxious to use this over and over again, because you're just blowing up the board, you're blowing up certain permanents. It was kind of an unfun gameplay. So we turned it into a spell that then when you use it, it goes back away so you can find it again later. Because it's always looming as a threat. You know, the Human Torch steals it to threaten Galactus, and then it does require a sacrifice of a legendary creature because this powerful artifact has to be used that way.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Next up, so this is one of my favorite cards and comic runs. What this next card references, the Council of Reeds. So 2 and a blue, legendary creature, human scientist hero. The legend rule doesn't apply to creatures you control. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, create a token that's a copy of Council of Reeds.
Yeah. So here we're seeing that non-creature spell requirement. Again, we're going to see again a lot more of those throughout the deck. And this one gets kind of out of hand. You know, like this, we're a low creature count deck. So having these cards that start multiplying themselves and, you know, offering an army and then using Invisible Woman to pump them through is really helpful for your win condition. But that first ability is on its own. That could be used however you want. There's some cards in the deck that make multiple copies. There, you can go build this on any of your blue clone decks and start applying that, kind of like the Sakashima style effect.
Yeah. Now, this is one of my favorite runs. It's actually, I started reading Fantastic Four when Jonathan Hickman took over the run, and Council of Reeds was one of his babies during that time. So yeah, I love this card so much. All right, next up, we've got Fantastic Elasticity. So this to me looks like Reed's signature spell here.
That is indeed. That is 2 and a blue, and you get to choose one. So he is flexible. You know, you get to pick one or the other, whatever you need. You can either bounce something to their hand. You know, Reed is known for being bouncy. Or you can return an instant sorcery from your graveyard to your hand, so you know he researches, he gets that thing back, which will continue to fuel your non-creature spells. You can loot more rebound effects, and this deck is all about that kind of flexibility at the table. What the tables,
pun intended.
Because this deck's not going to go as fast as, you know, the Captain America deck gets in there hitting, and then Doom's kind of over here scheming. Wakanda's pretty fast too, so this deck kind of has to like play its cards right.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving now. One of the here we have Lockjaw Slobbering Teleporter. Let's talk about this card real quick, and then we'll talk about the Inhumans. 1 and a blue for a 1/1 Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast a non-creature spell, there's that clause. Lockjaw gets a +1/+1 counter, and when you do, Lockjaw and up to 1 other target creature you control can't be blocked this turn with the flavor text woof. Okay, so let's. This card is adorable and great. And who doesn't love it? Why are the Inhumans here? Let's talk about that.
So again, it really is, this deck is trying to grab anyone the Fantastic Four have had relations with. You know, it's just that connectivity. They're the first family, and it's all about those team-ups and those interactions. And again, who doesn't love a giant dog? Even in playtesting, people who didn't know who Lockjaw was saw a dog on the typeline and like, oh, what is this? Who is this good boy? And his ability, as you know, in the show and the comics, is that he teleports people. Yeah. So it was really important that he himself teleported and the person he's with teleports. Like that's what he does. You always see him doing that. So getting that on the card was important.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Inhumans have a long history with the Fantastic Four. Johnny's dated multiples of them. Most notably Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal.
But Black Bolt and Reed are pretty close. So there's a long history. Not the last Inhuman we will see.
We'll see several today.
Yeah. But let's actually move to some of the Fantastic Children. So we've got Valeria Richards, Precocious, 3 and a blue, human scientist hero, 3/3. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less. And whenever you cast your first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card.
I love the cheeky flavor text on this of Daddy went and built a very bad machine and forgot to tell anyone. Guess who just found it?
Yep.
I love Valeria because she's always trying to one-up her dad. She thinks she is more clever, more brilliant. And while her card is kind of on the simpler side, it is a powerhouse in the deck. You know, it's discounting all your non-creature spells, so it's going to get that engine going. She can draw more cards than Reed Richards himself if you set it up correctly. You know, he's limited to the once per turn, and then you can copy it. She can do it once per turn around the table.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's just first non-creature every turn.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks. She's smarter than him. I think that quote is also probably from the Hickman run, if I'm remembering correctly. All right, but Valeria has a brother who is a powerhouse in his own right. So here is Franklin Richards Ascendant. Note that type line mutant hero. He is a mutant. 5 and a red for a 6/6 at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, discover 6. What a powerhouse here.
Yeah, there's that tagline of "Hey, do the thing," and wow, you get discover 6 every turn if you can keep this going. A lot again of people who in the building who like. The art started coming in, right? So at playtesting, we don't have the art originally, and then we finally get it in, and we're like, who is this child and why is he a 6/6? I'm like, oh, you have no idea how strong this child is. If you've seen the new Fantastic Four First Steps movie, we start seeing Franklin show up in that. He's kind of a big plot point in that movie. But yeah, his powers are kind of insane. He can bend reality. He can kind of do whatever.
He does, yeah. He is a mutant, which leads to a lot of strife. But there's a lot of stories where he's the last one at the end of the world. There are stories where Galactus is his herald.
Yeah.
And
might get a little teaser of that here in a second.
Yep. So yeah, being a 6/6, not out of the realm of reality for Franklin Richards. All right, next up in the Fantastic family, we have Alicia Masters, Skilled Sculptor. 1 and a red, Human Artificer, 0/4 at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, create a treasure token, and then since the good at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. You know, this is timely. Someone was just asking in chat, you know, there's some expensive spells here. How much ramp is in this deck?
Yeah, quite a bit. And for Alicia Masters, it was so important I got her in here, and I think she's the first in a few lines of not quite superheroes, has no superpowers, but so important to the family and so like critical to the story. This is Ben Grimm's wife. They get married. So,
they get married eventually.
So I really wanted to capture her here, and the Sense the Good ability is kind of what she does. She like whenever brain control of Ben and whatnot, she brings him back to the good side. And I love a good Homeward Path style effect. That's the first card I put in every commander deck. So I definitely wanted to slot that in here in this effect. And it's got that beginning of combat trigger as well.
All right, now let's keep going with some red cards into Flame On. So this looks like Johnny's signature spell.
Yeah, it certainly is. So 4 and a red, you can put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard, and it gains flying until end of turn, and then it has rebound. So if they're not dead the first time, they probably are the second. This is one of those cards where I was talking about where if you pair it with Human Torch himself, you will just obliterate your opponents, especially if you're late game. You have, 10 non-creatures in your graveyard? Yeah, this is going to get huge. And the counters stay. Ben Grimm can double them. Yeah. It'll get huge out of nowhere.
A lot going on there. All right, next up we have Nova Flame, sticking with Johnny Burns things. X2, red, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to each other creature.
So if you thought Flame On was strong, this one's uncapped, put all the mana into X. He will be the only one left on the battlefield because you've obliterated everything else. And then he just gets to fly in and take someone down.
Yeah, and this is kind of, in the comic books, this is sort of his like ultimate sacrifice move. He uses all of his power to do this to everything, so really cool.
If you play Marvel Rivals like I do, you're going to hear Supernova. This is that.
All right, now let's move on to Ben Grimm's signature spell. We've got It's Clobberin' Time.
Well, you could probably guess what the first ability does. This is 2 and a green for a sorcery, pick one. The first one, they punch.
They punch,
He punches. Second ability, smash. So choose what you need at the moment. And then it does have rebound at the bottom, no reminder text there, but this will come back a second turn. So your opponents will probably be worried about what mode you're going to choose in that second time as well.
All right, let's move back into the Inhumans. We have Medusa, Inhuman Queen, an Inhuman noble hero for 2 and a green for a 2/2 that has vigilance and reach from that hair. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Medusa. Noting it's a little different than the other non-creature triggers here. This one is whenever any player casts one.
So I love a good Mana Gorger Hydra. I wanted this to get bigger faster, but just by on only your non-creatures, it wasn't growing to the point I wanted it to, and I wanted it to kind of be lower on the curve. So this was born, it does get big pretty quick, and it is a reliable threat. It has the Vigilance Reach, so she helps protect you because you have so much non-creatures going on that you need that board state. And when I tell you that the sketch art for this came in, I could tell with all that hair, I'm like, this is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, they knocked it out of the
The
park
art is
on this one.
fantastic here. Yeah. For those who don't know,
Fantastic.
Medusa, Queen of the Inhumans, yes, married to Black Bolt, but her hair, she can control it perfectly, and it's a weapon, and it's long, and it's fantastic. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Black Bolt, Black Bolt Inhuman
There he is.
King. Yep, 2 white and a blue for an Inhuman noble hero. Flying, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Bolt gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And of course, Black Bolt has a lethal voice. Whenever Black Bolt becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls. That is quite the ability there.
Yeah, so Black Bolt was really difficult to design because his whole thing is he's so powerful, he just doesn't use it unless he has to.
Yeah.
So getting that technically prowess going, so he's this flying beat stick, so he is very useful in that game. But if your opponents mess with him, if he gets backed into the corner, that's when he speaks. That's when he uses that lethal voice to punish them for trying to interact with you.
Yep, someone will get punished. I mean, this sort of Punisher ability is something we've seen a few times before, Karmic Justice, things like that. But having it right here on Black Bolt makes this pretty imposing. All right, now let's move into the Cosmic Crucible. So Cosmic Crucible is 4 green and a blue for an enchantment. At the beginning of your first main phase, add 4 mana in any combination of colors for those looking for ramp. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Do this only once each turn. All right, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is that pivotal moment where the Fantastic Four became who they are, where they got their powers. So this is really an enchantment that once you get it down, it's going to further boost your game plan. This ramps you right to Galactus from 6 to 10. So this is the thing that's going to start just building your engine up once you get to it, and then copying your spells is just going to escalate it, double your power and become the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Answering the question in chat, going back to Black Bolt, how does he fly? He just flies. It has nothing to do with his voice. It's a separate ability that he.
Would be cool though.
It would be cool if he's
There's an X-Men that does that, right?
Yeah, Banshee.
Yeah, Banshee.
All right. All right. Back to our Inhumans. We have Crystal Inhuman Princess.
Yeah.
1 a red and a green for an Inhuman noble hero. 2/3 flying. Again, just has the ability to fly. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Crystal deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of colors that spell is, and she can tap for red, green, white, or blue.
Yeah, this one I wanted to kind of be that like vivid style build around where you want to build as many colors as you can into your spells, because she's a master of these 4 elements: the fire, earth, wind, and air, or air and water. And so that's why I spelled out the ability colors as well, instead of just saying add 1 mana of any color, which some designers pushed me for. They're like, hey, why don't you just do that? It's cleaner. I'm like, no, I want this to be potentially in the command zone where you could build around those 4 colors and trying to get all 4 every time you play. So yeah, I think she's a really fun build around. I can't wait to go build a deck with her.
No, that absolutely, I could see you swapping this. It's a different experience, but you could have Crystal lead this very deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next up we have Dragon Man, Reformed Robot. 2 a white and a blue for a legendary artifact creature. Dragon Robot, great type line. Flying for a star 5. Dragon Man's power is equal to the greatest mana value among non-creature permanents you control and non-creature cards in your graveyard. And you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs.
Yeah, so he can come down kind of early, and then he gets bigger over time as you're progressing your plan. I wanted it to capture both permanents on the battlefield and graveyard, because you're playing those big expensive enchantments like the first family or the 6 mana one from earlier. But then if you don't, let's say you don't have one, you're a little mana screwed, you don't get to it. Whenever you bring him back from the graveyard, you can discard that big spell to still power him up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also a really cool character. Was a bad guy, now part of
reformed.
Future Foundation.
Yeah.
Speaking of FF, next card is first family.
Yeah,
so
I think I got ahead of myself on that name. This is 2 green and a blue for an instant. You draw X cards and gain X life, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control and spells you've cast this turn. So this is one of those, like, the Fantastic Four is really about, the cosmic fights, the surface level protect the city, but also those family moments. So getting some of these softer moments in the deck with new cards is really important. They're just having breakfast. There's some good flavor text here from the thing. And often this is going to be draw 2, gain 2. That's the base because it's blue-green itself. But in this deck, it is often draw 4, gain 4, which is pretty strong.
Right, yep. Absolutely. And it's great. And the flavor is great that if you have the whole family out, it powers it up as big as it's going to go. It's great. Love it. Okay, now a bit of a spoiler to the first game. That's a weird transition, but here we go. Namor, Atlantean King. 1, a white and a blue for a mutant merfolk noble. 2/2 flyer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 blue merfolk creature token. Whenever Namor attacks a player who has more life than you, other creatures you control attacking that player get +2/+0 until end of turn. So people not familiar with the story of the Fantastic Four, like, why is Namor here? But he's enmeshed with the family in a lot of different ways. But yeah, this design is really interesting as well for Namor.
Yeah, you'll notice he's not a hero, because this is another one of those like frenemies that sort of teams up with them from time to time, even though he's infatuated with Sue, obviously giving a headache to the first family. But this is one of those also making tokens, because again, you're so low on creature count in this deck that you need ways to protect your life total while you're setting up those big game-winning plans with a Human Torch or the thing. So this is really important for that. And then once you go wide enough, he can buff the whole team to take down everybody in one strike. Lead his army of Atlanteans.
Well, it's also very cool. Just, we got a couple of Namors and other Atlanteans in the main set. Like, there's people who like Merfolk. There's some Merfolk stuff for you here, and Namor is among them. All right, sticking in the realm of frenemies, we've got Power Pack. Power Pack, 1 red, green, white, blue for a legendary creature, human hero, flying vigilance, trample, and haste. Whenever Power Pack deals combat damage to a player, exile target instant sorcery from your graveyard, chosen at random. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. If it'd be put in your graveyard, exile it instead. Tell us a bit about the Power Pack in this card.
Yeah, this is one of those cards where there's so many Marvel fans in the building. Maybe you've heard of Mark Rosewater or Aaron Forsyth. This is one, Mark Rosewater, when I was working on the decks, he was like, can you put a Power Pack card in there? I'm like, I bet I can do that. And so I got their 4 abilities on the keywords. And then that second ability lets them, when they hit, basically apply rebound to any instant and sorcery in your graveyard so that you get that again next turn, again setting up your engines for future turns and future triggers. And then, it's just representing all 4 of them on one card.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, this is maybe the deepest cut in here. We'll see. Willie Lumpkin, Postman, white and a blue for 1/3, human citizen. Willie Lumpkin can't be blocked because he's got to deliver that mail. And whenever Willie Lumpkin deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw a card, and that player may draw a card. If they do, that player can't attack you or permanents you control during their next turn. I also love the flavor text. Neither snow, nor rain, nor Dubats, nor Galactus stays him from his appointed
Not
realms.
even Galactus.
Not even Galactus.
This is another one of those non-super friends that are in the deck, and I think it was the funny story of, I mentioned Mark Rosewater wanting Power Pack. Well, at one point, Aaron Forsyth is like, hey, are you including any of these list of characters? And I looked at them all, and I saw Willie Lumpkin there, and I said, challenge accepted. He's going in the deck. And so this has been really fun in playtest because it is one of those political cards of the mail's getting delivered, I'm drawing a card. Do you want a card? Yeah. Promise, don't swing at me. Type deals. They almost always take the deal because who doesn't want a card?
And how can you say no to Willie Lumpkin?
Look at him.
He's just there delivering the mail.
Yeah.
He's great. All right. Next up is another cool piece of Fantastic Four lore. It's the Fantasticar. This is a 3-mana legendary artifact vehicle. It's a 4/4. It's got flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have the Fantasticar become an artifact creature until end of turn. And when you cast your 4th non-creature spell each turn, you may sacrifice the Fantasticar. If you do, create 4/4/4 colorless construct artifact creature tokens with flying and haste.
Is this the card that has the most 4s on it, I think, in the
It
deck?
probably has the most 4s on it.
I think it's also one of the cards that took the longest to get correct. We know what it does. It's
Yeah.
a car, it flies, it splits into 4. Getting all of that to be balanced and on the text box correctly sized is very difficult. CFL and working with Melissa DeTora on that team took a lot of work to get it to do the function we wanted, and rules and editing for sure, in a way that was both balanced and legible.
Yeah.
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 And then it's really important that it also can animate itself. You'll notice no crew cost because you just can't afford to use those creatures like this is going to be when you play your non-creature spells. Maybe it surprise blocks. Maybe it gets in for 4 damage as a cheeky swing. Yeah.
All right. I do have to ask this question because chat is up in arms right now. They wanted this to cost 4 mana instead of 3. And I think it's the rare instance of like, could this cost more mana?
Could you nerf this,
you make
please,
this card
live?
worse?
I'll see what I can do. It's probably going to say 3
Did you all
mana.
consider having it cost 4 at any point?
Yeah, I think if it went to 4 though, then the other numbers had to change. Like then it becomes a 5/5, and what problem have we have we fixed there?
All right, play it on 3, and then you get to do stuff with it on 4.
There you go.
That's all right. All right. Speaking of more lovable parts of the Fantastic family, here we have Herbie, lovable robot. 2 mana for a 1/1 flying robot scout. The beginning of combat on your turn. If you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, surveil 1. It's a little bit of that ramp. You can tap to add a colorless, or 1 and tap to add 1 mana of any color.
Yeah, he's a vital member of the Fantastic Four's household. You know, like he's providing that little Surveil 1 utility. He's adding mana. He's doing the laundry. He's doing everything you want him to do. I think he was a fan favorite when the new movie came out. And I think they did a great job on making him the lovable robot that he is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Couldn't have a Fantastic Four deck without Herbie.
I said lovable robot without realizing that was the epithet in the name, actually, just now.
All right, next up we have a negative zone portal. You can't have the Fantastic Four without a negative zone portal. This one is a 2 mana artifact that lets you exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. If it's a creature card, you get to draw a card. Very cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more creature cards exiled with this artifact, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sacrifice this artifact and return a card exiled with it at random to its owner's hand. This is a really cool showcase of how chaotic the negative zone portal can be.
Yeah, this was a hard one to get right because there had to be risk with it. You know, again, I'll mention the CFL. We're like, why does it have to have a downside? I'm like, it kind of just does. It's risky to keep using this, so you keep shoving creatures in there for benefit. You know, you're drawing a card, you're locking them away. But after a while, it gets too full in there, and it could break at any moment. And that's just a risk you have to start taking after you put 4 or more creatures in there.
Yeah, the negative zone portal is a constant source of either exploding or opening when they don't want it to, or just
Nothing ever stays in there.
nothing ever stays in there, and they keep it in their home. It's, you know, whatever.
That's
it's
a
fine.
choice.
That's a choice. It is a choice. All right, next up, we've got Unstable Molecule Suit.
Yeah.
So 3 mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Indestructible. It can equip your commander for 2 mana or any creature for 4 mana.
Yeah. Unlike the last card, this one was pretty straightforward and easy to get. You know, the +4 total on the stats. This is their super suit. It is indestructible. It adapts to what powers they have. So I think it was really important to get that suit in the deck to equip your Fantastic Four members.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so those are all of the new cards. However, there's still a bunch of cool reprints in this deck. We're going to start with the reprints that have alternate names. So only did that for a few cards in this deck, but they're very flavorful, and so we're going to take a look at those. So we have, first up, the Watcher's Warning, also known as Mind's Dilation here.
Yeah, talk about those big, impactful non-creature spells. The
Yeah.
7 mana enchantment, whenever an opponent casts their first spell each turn, exiles top card of their library. And if it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. You are going to start stealing your opponent's spells and just start getting so much value over time. And we found a way to get the Watcher in here as well,
Yep. All right, next up we have Franklin's Finality. a reskin of Annie Joins Up. So this is where you see Galactus as the herald to an older Richards.
Yeah, I really push for this in the deck because it does what you want it to do in the deck. It's Naya color, so it doesn't get to go in that many decks, and we have this opportunity here of the 4-color deck. And if a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Basically, every character we've talked about today is a legendary with a non-creature trigger at the beginning of combat, so you will get all of those twice. This was such a powerful card to get in this deck.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, even, you look at it with Franklin getting to discover
6 twice.
Yeah. Yeah, this card, great addition. Sick art. Just so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right, and then the last one in this category, the 5 Arrive, also known as Genesis Ultimatum. There's 5 of them here.
Yep.
What's going on?
Well, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you get to put any permanents in, so you can summon the whole 5. But this is just a way to get that value going. Another 7 cost non-creature spell. Just the bigger spells you go in the deck, the more impact they need to have.
Yep.
And this one can, if you just had a board wipe, you got to reset up. This can dig in. And you can get some of those expensive enchantments out as well. This could get Galactus out.
Yeah.
If you hit Galactus, he's out there. Yeah.
Yep. On the 5 Arrive, this is another alternate version of the Fantastic Four, but there's 5 of them, and there's some different characters, and yeah. All right, now we're gonna move into reprints with the same names but new arts. But we were talking before the show how this section is almost kind of more fun for people who've been playing a long time. Because yes, they're reprints, but it's so cool to see when the story really intersects with a Magic card that already existed.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, obviously we have to do this.
I love getting to use my creative background in game design. That's like these Universes Beyond decks and stuff are some of my favorite things to make because of that. So there's always the top-down designs of what the new cards are, like exactly built for that character, that moment, that action. Whereas reprints, it's really fun getting to look through Magic's history, find something with first a reprintable name. We're doing some of the alt names and would love feedback on if you like seeing those in these decks. But finding those reprints with names that just work.
Yeah.
And like this first card we're going to look at is very specific
We're
story
gonna put up
moment.
3 of them, but let's put them up. But Bovine Intervention, like it's it's a fine card.
Yeah.
But like it had to be in here.
Yeah, if you know the Fantastic Four, you know the story moment, and even in playtesting, they're like, "Don't you want to put like a more well-known removal spell in here? Don't you want?" I'm like, "No, it has.
We got to reference
this.
cows. It's got to be a cow." Yeah. So for those who don't know, the Fantastic Four thwarted a Skrull invasion by turning them into cows for a bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, yep.
Enough
was how
said.
that story ended. Actually, I mean, those cows came back into play later. But
Moving on.
all right, no, that's good. Okay, so then we've got Cleansing Nova featuring Frankie Ray.
Yep.
And then Clever Concealment. And again, it's just a name that you're like, oh yeah, obviously. Like Sue Storm, Concealing.
And obviously, I love Invisible Woman. I'm going to get this powerhouse card in here to use with her and get this awesome art where they're sneaking past Dr. Doom over there.
Yeah, and phasing out is kind of, it feels very much like her using her invisible powers, yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned like the Invisible Woman face card. It was really difficult to get everything that she does on one card because there are so many iterations of that. You just mentioned phasing.
Yeah.
Face card doesn't phase, but it could have.
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways to capture her 2 main abilities.
Absolutely. All right, let's see the next 3 here. We have Collective Effort. Again, of course, it's the Fantastic Four having Collective Effort. We've got Cut a Deal. I'll get back to that one in a moment because that's a really impactful story moment. And then we've got Monologue Tax. Just let the villains talk.
A little cheeky with that one, like, hey, you spiel your thing, and then we got the art in with Invisible Woman stealing the book. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. Collective Effort. That art looks to be a reference to Fantastic Four 1, and just a retake on it. Cut a Deal. Sue was childbirth was not going well, and Doom saved them, and that was kind of the beginning of Doom's relationship with Valeria, which is actually a really cool story point that gets brought up quite a bit.
Yeah, I can see that in the flavor text as well there.
Yeah, it's it's a cool card, but like it just perfectly fits here. All right, Next up, we've got 3 more coming up. We've got Path to Exile, Promise of Loyalty, and Tragic Arrogance.
Yeah, Path to Exile capturing the sadness and loneliness of Thing as he's dealing with his new transformation. This is shortly after the Cosmic Rays. Promise of Loyalty is kind of I designed this card back in the Strixhaven Commander decks alongside Corey Bowen, and it just fits so many story moments. I love putting them in these UB decks, and I think this is a great one because it just shows all 4. Kind of even a reference to that Strixhaven cards with the all hands in. Yeah. And then Tragic Arrogance, also a pet card.
Yeah, Doom himself is not in this deck, but Doom is so intertwined with them that having his arrogance on display.
I mean, the flavor text says it right there, right? Here we go again, Victor. This is how it always goes.
All right, next up, we've got Deep Analysis, Quantum Misalignment, and Recurring Insight.
Yeah, these 3 cards kind of represent that you need to cast a non-creature spell every turn. So here's some more rebound. Flashback gets you a second use of it. So you're going to see a lot of ways in the deck to recur those spells. Power pack we talked about earlier.
Yeah, each of these 3 spells having different ways to come back, trigger again, is great.
Yep.
All right, we're going to keep moving along into the Time Vortex. Seize the Day, and Cultivate. Into the Time Vortex is really cool because that was one that came from originally a different Universes Beyond set, but also it fits here.
Yeah. I was lucky that the name worked here. I could have maybe done an alt name, but here it clicked well. It had rebound. The cascade can go into anything. It's getting all those. It does everything you want. It only does 2 things, but you want both of them.
Does those things,
it's going to get you those non-creature spellcast triggers. It's going to come back and do it again. And if you have things like Namor out, it's going to count every non-creature or Medusa or things like that aren't just limited to the beginning of combat trigger.
Yep, absolutely.
Seize the Day. This is how you finish someone off with Human Torch, let me tell you. You buff him up, and then you just take multiple combats and get in there.
I mean, speaking of finishing, again, talking about story moments that just fit, like finishing him off with Johnny Storm. It looks to me like this is when he went through the negative zone and kind of sacrificed himself to save everyone. And he was thought dead for a while, but this is when he, went all out hero mode and won the day.
Yeah, and this Cultivate is another one of those like more soft family moments of Valeria and Reed.
Yep, and that ramp that everyone's asking.
Yep, you gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Let's stay on that ramp path with the next cards that are, there we go, Farseek. People have seen that one a little bit already, but again, the art, the flavor, it's perfect. Path of Discovery, getting to explore, again, exploration, really big with the Fantastic Four, and then Terramorph.
Yeah, I think I talked about the pillars of galactic fights, street level fights, and family moments. But there is also like you just said, the exploring side. The Fantastic Four are explorers. Reed is a scientist, and I think this Farseek art really captures that. Like if you don't know much about the Fantastic Four except for their base story, that base story. They went into space. They got the cosmic rays. This is capturing the moments before that.
Yeah. All right.
And Terramorph again with the rebound.
With the rebound. It just, again, it fits perfectly. How does it, so when you are building these decks and you're looking for cards that fit, like how does it feel to find that card that's just like, oh yes, absolutely 100% this, I know exactly what the concept is?
It feels amazing when you see it and can overlay it, especially if it's an easy sell for fellow designers to be like, hey, remember this moment, this is capturing that, or like creative for sure. Yeah. Or if like, that seems questionable, we might have to think of something else for that moment, but you can probably have it in the deck. I think it's a worse feeling whenever you find the perfect card and it doesn't fit the deck. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I want to put this in here, or like it's not the right theme but it's the right name, or something like that. Yep.
All right, next up we have 3 visits, Expressive Iteration and Galvanic Iteration. Again, fantastic flavor. I'm not intending to say fantastic over and over again, but it just it's melting in your brain.
Yeah. I've been talking about the Fantastic Four all weekend at Summer Game Fest. I've said fantastic so many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on with these three?
Yeah, so this is more ramp because you need the ramp. Then ways to dig for your spells. Card draw spells are going to trigger that non-creature and then potentially find the next non-creature for the next turn. And then Galvanic Iteration is another one of those cards with flashback, but it lets you double up your big powerful spell. Imagine if we copied the through the time vortex.
Yep.
Cascade, just keep cascading.
Get so many
Yeah,
spells.
this deck is so much about setting up your chain reactions, your little science experiment, if you will, for Reed Richards, and just winning the game kind of out of nowhere. Like you're going to do these bombastic moves that your opponents won't see coming.
Well, and I'm glad he didn't get a card in the main deck, but I'm glad we got Nathaniel Richards on a card, which is Reed Richards' father, who lots of time travel shenanigans with him. All right, next up we have Hull Breach, Taunt from the Rampart, and Whirlwind of Thought.
I wanted Taunt from the Rampart in here for so long, and I was like, because I wanted to be able to goad the table, disrupt decorum style effects, things like that. And I was like, hey, what about this the group of people who are just constantly harassing the thing? And they're like, oh yeah, that's funny. Let's make that. And they got the art to work perfect for it.
That's so great.
Yeah, I think Whirlwind of Thought is actually a really good capturing of Reed Richards constantly in thought in his lab. Yeah, and Hull Breach is what you'd expect. Thing in Human Torch they're breaking through a hole.
It is. I went back to the Battle World lead up. That's where my mind went when I heard Hull Breach. But anyway, that's
with Kang showing up here.
With Kang showing up, yeah. All right. Next up, we've got some expected cards. We've got Arcane Signet, Chromatic Lantern, and Lightning Greaves. It is worth noting that the Arcane Signet the art is specific to this deck. There are Arcane Signets in other decks, but they each get their own Arcane Signet.
Yeah, I love Chromatic Lantern, and I know people are hot or cold on 3-mana rocks, but I love Chromatic Lantern in 4+ color decks, especially with starting mana bases. It makes everything run so much smoother when you got this out here, and then you don't have to think about your lands tapping at all. You just play the game. And then Lightning Greaves, obviously, with some incredible Invisible Woman art there. Maybe push for that a little. They can't hit what they can't see.
Perfect. All right, next up we have another set of 3. We have Mirage Mirror, Soul Ring, and Cinder Glade.
Yeah, Mirage Mirror can do some tricky things in this deck, especially with things like Council of Reeds out. We talked about that earlier, where that legend rule doesn't apply to your creatures, is very broad. So, you know what? Have 2 Galactuses. It's fine for this turn. You can literally copy anything, and this essentially doubles up your triggers. If you have one of the Fantastic Four members out and you become a copy of them with your Council of Reeds out or whatnot, you will get double those triggers. If you become a copy of the Galactic Rays, you get more mana. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this.
Yep. And again, I'll point out the flavor text. The Maker, the evil version of Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, gets a little cameo in the flavor text here. All right, then we've got Cinder Glade, of course.
We're getting into the lands.
We are. We're moving into the lands. All right, so let's next see Command Tower, Fabled Passage, and Hinterland Harbor.
Yeah, just showing more of that exploring in the Fabled Passage, the group of our explorers. I think this is before they get their powers.
Which one?
The Fabled Passage. I can't tell who that is behind Reed.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Could be. And then the command tower, again, that is the Baxter building. That is specific art for this deck. Each of the decks has their own command tower. Hinterland Harbor, great reference to the story where the thing is Blackbeard the pirate.
Yep, there he is.
Time travel stuff. Do it all the time. All right. All right, more lands. We've got Rejuvenating Springs, Rootbound Crag, and Sodden Verdure.
Time with family cures many ills. There's just a nice beach moment for the Rejuvenating Springs.
Yep.
Yeah, Rootbound Crag with thing on it.
Yep, on Yancey Street.
Yep. Yancey Street Gang, that's I couldn't
Yancey
think
Street
of the name
Gang.
earlier. Yep.
All right. Oh, and I love that Sun Venture is Monster Isle, too.
I don't like that centipede up front.
No, nobody likes that centipede up front. All right, and then our final 4 cards. We have Canopy Vista, Evolving Wilds, Sunpetal Grove, and Terramorphic Expanse.
Yeah, we're getting a little sneak peek at the Wakanda deck over there in Canopy Vista because the lands are shared between them.
Yep.
So you'll see more of the Wakanda deck on Thursday. But yeah.
All right.
Stay Terramorphic.
So that covers it for the Fantastic Four deck. The full deck list will be available on dailymtg.com a little bit later. Yeah, any last thoughts? How much do you enjoy playing this deck?
I am so excited to get to play this deck again outside of the playtest space now that it's coming out, I believe, on June 26th. So I'll definitely be sleeving this up and probably keeping it as is. I might edit it with some Fantastic Four references from the main set. There's the infinite combo of the uncommons from the main set. I might want to slide that in here to be a little cheeky. I don't know that so much goes with the theme that we've built here, but yeah, I'm really just excited to play this deck.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so that is it for us today. There are 2 more Commander decks coming out. Two more.
Yep.
Today's Tuesday. Time's a construct. Tomorrow's Wednesday, then Thursday. 1 deck each day with the full and final card image gallery being posted on Friday. So tune in for those, and we will see you next week where we will do our product opening. So we'll open some Marvel Superheroes product and show you what comes in what products. Until then, thanks for tuning in.
See ya.